Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. We can see nearly 40 of you who are already here. We'll wait for a couple of minutes. Welcome to everyone who's joining in. Great to see all of you here. There's nearly 100 of you now nearly logged in. We'll give it 2 minutes before we start with anything. My name is Paras Fatnani. I'm one of the co-founders and chief strategy officer at Seed Global Education. And today's session is brought to you in partnership with Gies College of Business, which is part of University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. There's nearly about 125 of you here. While we wait for a couple of more people, for all of you that are here, would you take a moment to go to your chat function at the bottom of your screen and tell us which city are you joining in from today. So if you can see the chat function at the bottom, type in the city you're coming in from. Great to see some people from Mumbai, Delhi, Hubli, Bangalore, Noida, Chandigarh, Meerut. Great to see you all here. Trichur, Hyderabad again. Wonderful. Mysore. Great. Dehradun as well. Lovely, lovely. Jaipur. It's a pleasure to have you all here. We hope today's session is going to be quite informative, and it helps you think about careers that you want to build further as well. We're about 150 people. We're going to give it another 2 minutes before we start off. Like I mentioned, for many of you that are joining in, please keep posting the city you're coming in from. But once again, my name is Paras Fatnani. I'm one of the co-founders at Seed Global Education. Today's session is in partnership with Gies College of Business. We've got an extensive area of focus today. We're going to speak about blockchain analytics, and we've got Professor Vishal Sachdev, who will speak to us in this domain, and we've got Jia Zing, who's the Associate Director at Gies College of Business, who will talk to us a little bit about the programs that are on offer as well. Great, people from Jammu joining in as well, Aurangabad, Bihar. Fantastic to see you all here. Brilliant. Greater Noida as well, fantastic. Welcome everyone, welcome to today's session. Great, so before I go into the session and introduce more about the session, let's take a quick minute. I'm gonna put up a quick poll in just a minute. We'll hold on for a minute because there's many of you joining in as well. We're now crossed 200 people in the room. So welcome everyone once again. Pleasure to see you all here. We wait for another minute. There's Tanvi from Pune as well. Welcome, Tanvi. Fantastic. So with that, I'm going to launch the first poll before we go ahead with the session any further. Obviously, we've, as I mentioned, we've partnered with the Gies College of Business to bring you today's session. It'll be interesting to know how many of you are thinking about of studying a master's program. So the first poll that we'll bring up is around understanding how many of you are considering a business master's program in the US. So take a minute. You'll see a poll pop up on your screen. How likely are you to pursue a business master's degree in the US? Are you very likely, somewhat likely, unsure at the moment, or not so likely? Great to have you here, Pratima, as well. So have a look at the poll for all of you that are joining in from across the country. We're going to keep this poll on for about 60 seconds. How likely are you to pursue a business master's degree in the US? Are you very likely, somewhat likely, not sure yet? And hopefully today's session might help you for that too. Or are you considering other locations at the moment and not likely to pursue a program in the US? All right, we'll close the poll now. Hopefully many of you have had the chance to respond to it. We'll get the results popping up quite shortly. About 32% of you are somewhat likely, 28% of you are very likely. So nearly 60% of you know that you want to pursue a program, a business master's degree in the US, which is great to know. 28% of you are slightly unsure. And I hope today's session gives you a little bit more understanding and learning around that too. And about 11% are not currently considering the US. Great. With that, without further ado, I'm going to move on to introducing a little bit about the session and then pass on to our speakers for today. Today's session will focus on blockchain analytics. It's a growing field in today's time. Interestingly, for many of you that are looking to build a career in the domain, an interesting stat, many a times, if you go on to any of the recruitment websites today and search for the role of a blockchain analytics, majority of the roles that you will see are starting in the six-figure salaries. And this is because of the demand that the profession has created. The primary domain of decentralized finance has had a lot of recent developments, and NFTs in particular have been popular in recent years. The data and domain take time and effort to understand. So there is an entry barrier, but even with basic analytics skills in a complicated context, you're able to start and you're able to jumpstart a career. So today's session will introduce you how to get started with SQL on open data from blockchain. I've got with myself Professor Vishal Sachdev, who's a clinical associate professor of business administration, an R.C. Evans data analyst fellow at the Gies College of Business. He's also the academic director for the Gies MS in Business Analytics program. And apart from being a renowned professor, he's also co-founded the first business school-based 3D printing lab with the aim of helping students and executives leverage the power of additive manufacturing and other methods of digital making. Professor Sachdev, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. With him, I've also got Jia Zing, who's the Associate Director of Recruiting and Admissions at the Gies College of Business. She is an HR leader and career coach with over 10 years of experience, working across Fortune 500 companies. Currently, she's supporting Gies College of Business in recruiting talented students globally to enjoy world-class education. So with that, I'm going to we're nearly 300 of us here, so welcome everybody once again. From a structure of the session, before I hand over to Professor Sachdev, for any of you that have any questions, we will take them in two parts. One, we'll take them after Professor Sachdev finishes his initial presentation, and next we will take it towards the end of the session as well. If I can request all of you to look at the Q&A tab at the bottom and ask your questions there. If you do see a question that has already been asked, which is similar to your interest, upvote the question instead of asking the same question again. This helps us understand which questions are most popular, and in a long list of questions, we'll try and take as many as we can today as well. The other part, if and when Professor Sachdev asks you to engage in the session, please use the chat functionality. That is where you'll be able to respond to his questions as well. But if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section, and we'll try and take them towards the end of the session and after his presentation as well. So without further ado, Professor Sachdev, over to you.
Thank you, Paras. Thank you for the introduction and for organizing this session. And it's a great pleasure to meet all of you. I guess you're all in warmer weather than most of us here. We don't have snow right now, but it's cold, so much so I can wear a jacket inside the home as well. So a little bit about me. I came to the US for a master's. Several of you are considering a master's, but then continued on to a PhD in information systems. Before that, I worked in India at Maruti. Some of you, hopefully all of you know the name. And did my undergrad in Delhi. So I see a few Delhi folks here. And I've been here at Illinois for about 14 years in the information systems area. And as Paras mentioned, I am the academic director of the business analytics program. Excuse me, morning, I need more coffee. So, of course, the business analytic program, I should probably get some water, is part of, give me a minute. The business analytics program is one master's program, and Zhao will tell you about more, towards the second half of the session. And I'm giving you an excerpt of one sort of module from one course, in a 36 credit hour or 12 course thing. And this course is taken by our both, actually, two of our master's program take this course focused on enterprise data management. And within that, I have a module on blockchain analytics. So let me open up my slide deck, and I should finish in about, of course, our classes run much longer, anyway, 80 minutes to somewhat 3 hours as well. But I'm going to try and give you some highlights of how we run these sessions, how we introduce these modules, and of course, tell you a little bit about blockchain analytics and why we are spending a good amount of time on that. Now, this is one module in one course. I have a full course on blockchain analytics as well. I'll give you the links later. So I had done that again for graduate students. But this is just a snapshot, right? Now, one quick check, before we move on, I want to get a sense of how many of you have some knowledge of SQL. So you can give me, a thumbs up on, I guess I need to see the participants, or maybe in the chat, if you can tell me with a yes, if you have some experience with SQL. It doesn't matter if you don't, but it'll be good to know how many of you do have. So yes or a no, Y or N will work. Okay, so I'm seeing about a 50-50 split in the yeses and nos. That's good. Okay, so we're not going too deep into SQL, but that's a foundational skill for any data course, right? That's the first skill we talk about when we talk about data management. So I'm going to try and, for those of you who are interested, can actually follow along with some simple steps on a website. So I'll give you the link in a bit, talk about why blockchain analytics, give you background on where I bring this in my course. And like I said, we have a full course on this. We have several other courses as well, because this is a growing demand. Irrespective of the crash right now, there is still a lot of demand in the market. I'll show you a couple of student submissions so you have an idea of what our students actually do, and what, if you join the analytics program, what you might do, and then quickly open up a website where we can actually try some SQL, right? So as a prep for the session, if you can, those of you who want to follow on, it's not required. If you can go to this website and create a free account. I don't know if I can access the chat for all the participants. I could paste it here, or, if for us, you can copy that and paste it.
I will copy it and paste it into the chat.
Yeah, so so this is one of the websites that make blockchain data available in an easier format, right? So core blockchain data is very difficult to interpret. So there are many service providers who will process the data and make it available, put it in a relational database so that you can write queries on it, right? So you can create visualizations or do all the analysis you need to do. So those of you who want to try this out, and even if not this session, I would certainly recommend, if you're interested in this space, I'll give you some other resources at the end, but this is one good. There's another one. I'll give you those links as well, right? Two main ones. So let's talk about why blockchain analytics, right? Several hundred companies are already using DLT, which is distributed ledger technologies. That's sort of the generic word for blockchain, because really blockchain is a distributed ledger. And if you think about it, it's basically a distributed database. with added cryptographic security guarantees and the benefit that it is in many cases uncensorable as well, right? So you're thinking about a distributed, fault-tolerant, global, decentralized ledger that anybody can write into, and once written, nobody can change that. So there are hundreds of applications, if not thousands, and many firms are using blockchains other than the common ones that you know, right? Everybody knows about Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe Solana, but firms are in many cases using what are called permissioned blockchains, which are not really public, right? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are public blockchains, while firms will use permission. So given that we are in a business school, we watch carefully what our consulting firms, are hiring for. And, the top four, PwC, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, these kind of firms all have dedicated teams for this space. And I wouldn't say just focused on analytics. They're focused on consulting, strategy, technology, and analytics is one subfield of what these firms are hiring for, right? Including, of course, all the startups in the space, many protocols. One of the big ones is right there in India as well, which is very popular, Polygon, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. And there are several other unicorn startups in India as well. So this is a global phenomenon, and it's gaining steam everywhere, right? So you, as Paras was saying, that if you look at careers with specific keywords, you will find, six-figure salaries, right? Now, we know that the last 6 months have been pretty scary in terms of, scams and stuff. So the deals have reduced. But if you look at the last boom, which was 2017, 2018, you can look at the current boom is like 6 times as much. And yes, there have been 2 major problems in the last 6 months. So there is a steep decline, but it is rapidly approaching the maturity phase in the hype cycle. So, with increasing adoption across firms, we expect that this will be a sort of a foundational technology layer for business on the web, right? Whether it be for DeFi, decentralized finance, or for NFTs, which are the common use cases, but supply chains and decentralized identity and decentralized social networks. There are so many applications coming up. And then anytime you have these protocols, if they're on open blockchains, you get access to the data, right? So understanding that data, analyzing that, and then getting insights from that and making decisions is vital to any analyst's job in this space, right? So here is a sort of screenshot from, there's a research firm called CB Insights, and they have a subunit called Block Data. So if you want to see more research, search them up, you will find a good analysis of blockchain adoption. But as I was saying, we all hear about Ethereum and Bitcoin, but if you look at the Hyperledger Fabric, many of the firms started out using what are called permissioned blockchains. So these are not entirely public. You cannot just go and join that. You cannot join Amazon's network on Hyperledger Fabric because it's a permission network, while the Ethereum network is public, right? So increasingly, we are seeing stuff moving on to public networks with additional security on top, which is, if you want to search for it, zero knowledge proofs are one key technology that's happening right now. So this list goes on, right? I've just shown you the top 5 distributed ledger technologies. This has a list of 12, sourced from Block Data. You can find it on their website as well. I also looked up certain, job postings. So these are, of course, you see there's one posting for Bangalore as well, but most of these are remote. So it really doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. Many of them, or if not most, crypto is sort of remote first in terms of hiring, right? And if you look at the last one, we are actually going to be looking at OpenSea, which is an NFT marketplace, and they are hiring an on-chain data analyst, right? Now, I'm not looking at Q&A right now, so please, keep posting. We'll handle them at the end. This is a profile of one of our students who took my course in summer. He had some prior experience in blockchain. He took the analytics course and he got hired at Ernst & Young. And we had guest speaker from Ernst & Young in that course, and we used some of their material. And EY is doing a lot of work in this space, right? So when you're learning about something cutting edge and learning about applying it, increases the chances that you'll get, good placements. So in terms of this blockchain analytics as part of my database course that all MSBA students take in their first semester, we first start with SQL, right? So structured query language, that's the basic language of working with data, and almost everybody needs to know that skill, even if you're not doing analytics, right? That's my belief, at least, but I'm biased, right? Then we learn about understanding data models, reading data models, creating data models. And then we move on to practicing this with real world data in a different context. Now, whenever you talk about analytics, it's always important to understand the business context and the business value of your analysis before you actually go and look at the data, because just knowing SQL and not knowing anything about the business is useless, right? You really can't get business insights. So, our students have learned some SQL, they've learned some data modeling, then we get them into working with understanding what the blockchain is, what kind of solutions, what kind of problems does it solve, and then focus on understanding the data, because it's tough to understand. Let me be frank, right? Because if you go to the core blockchain data, it's virtually impossible to use for a newcomer. But then we use these third-party websites, we're talking about Flipside Crypto, that make it easier for you to access the data, and they provide it in a database where you can query it with SQL easily, right? So that's where, so we can think about this is happening in about week 8 of a 16-week course, week 8 or 9, and they are working in teams, right? So our approach across most of our courses is we try and use open source software. We try and use open resources. Many of our courses will not, rely on expensive textbooks. We like to use real data as far as possible. We focus on business use cases. So none of our courses or, projects or assignments will just do analysis for the sake of doing it, right? Oh, you need to learn X, so let's just pick a data set. It's always driven by what business problem are we solving. And then in many cases, you are working actually with firms as well, right? You're working on real problems. In this case, in the blockchain analytics, we have open data, we have challenges. This website, Flipside Crypto, also publishes bounties that you can participate in, right? So you can actually earn money for solving problems on crypto, not, you have to figure out a way to convert that somehow. And as part of our courses, all of our courses will have an applied section, and we have a full 9-month practicum as well for the MSBA, where you're actually doing stuff with your skills, right? So let me give you a little context of how we introduce this in class. So, crypto, the easiest use case for beginners to understand is NFTs. So I picked a generative art NFT by the name Fidenza. So the artist is Tyler Hobbs, and he has developed essentially code that creates art, right? It's called generative art. And the algorithm running to create different images, and Art Blocks is sort of the curator. Think of it, Art Blocks as Christie's, who's curating art and then selling it. So Art Blocks is a crypto native curation project, and they invite artists to come and publish on their platform. So the few artists that get invited, they get a lot of visibility, right? So you can take a look at this. Why are we looking at Fidenza? So if you look at the numbers at the bottom, over the last, 1 year. It was created October 2021. The total volume of sales, so add up all the secondary sales, it's about 55,000 ETH. Can somebody run the calculation for me and put it in the chat? How much is 55,000 ETH worth today? Let me see who comes up with the answer the fastest. So ETH is Ethereum, for those of you who don't know. So 9 lakhs, okay. 55,000 ETH is probably going to be a lot more than 9 lakhs. I was a math major, but I think my numbers are right. So about 73,000 USD, 73 million. 73 million sounds closer because 55,000 times 1,300. So 73 million sounds closer to the number, right? And this is valued on today's price. And if this is happening over the last year, and ETH was probably what, $4,000 at its $4,800 at its height last October, I'm thinking. So at that price, so if you look at ETH to dollar value over the last year, the actual value probably will be 250 million or more. Overall sales priced at the time the NFT sold, right? So right now the minimum price is 85 ETH, 65 ETH is the best offer. And let me put the visualization back on. As to understand why, what is going on, right? How much money this particular project is making, and the artist is getting 7.5% of this, right? So this artist is probably very happy with his life right now. Maybe has stopped making as much money as last year, but certainly making a good amount of money. So we say, okay, how can we understand more about this data? So I gave students some prompts to work on for Fidenza, right? That's my choice. I said, this is a structured analysis, do this for me. And then I said, pick another NFT and do another analysis and show me, right? So one is my choice, one is your choice. So I'll show you the Fidenza, and let me share my other screen now. So I think I have the right screen. Yeah. So I think you all see so this is a dashboard developed on Flipside Crypto. This is the site I told you to create an account on. So the highest price Fidenza, it has been 1,000 ETH, right? And this was, if we look behind at the code, I don't know, when I open this, does a window open up on your screen as well? Sometimes these windows don't show.
Yeah.
It does? Okay. So, I won't go through the code here, but well, I don't have the results. Let me see the results of this query. And this is 23rd August 2021, right? So August, that seems strange. It says a launch date of October. Anyway, maybe, OpenSea has different data, but this is coming from the blockchain. So we trust this data more than what's showing on the OpenSea website. So 1,000 ETH in August. I think if you look up the price of, well, actually they have the price. At that time, it was $3.34 million, right? So imagine for something that's created just by an algorithm, somebody is paying 3.34 million, and by no means this is the highest price. There are several higher in other projects, right? So students would write the queries and create a dashboard. So I gave them 5 questions. They looked at estimated revenue, from overall secondary sales. So it looks like based on this dashboard, about 4,500 ETH made by the creator over the last just over a year of selling. 4,500 ETH at different times, is probably worth $6 to $8 million, depending on the price of, USD. So this guy is happy there, right? So that was one analysis. Then we have them do, and every time I change this, I have to share another screen because I wanted to show you the live analysis. So this was, pick a project that you're interested in, right? So students, in this case, this was a team. They picked a project called Farmland, which was, helping a person who's new to NFTs figure out which project should I invest in. So they had some criteria to figure out why they would choose Pixels. There's some analysis, look at total sales, highest priced NFTs, lowest price, right? Which NFT should I buy once you've identified a project, right? How much is it being traded? How many buyers? More buyers, more liquidity, more likely to get a good return on your investment. So this was purely as an investment analysis, right? So this is the kind of stuff students are doing as an output from this module, right? So let me now take you through a little bit of SQL. I probably will cut short my demo looking at our time, but so if you have already created an account on this link, the first one, you can follow along or you can just watch. To give some context, we are looking at NFTs. We are focusing on the Ethereum blockchain. And as I said, going to the source data on the Ethereum blockchain is going to be very difficult. So we use this third-party website. They've processed the data and made it available. In this case, we are looking at 3 related tables, and you see the word easy, right? They made it easy. They've even actually given that name. NFT mints, which is when the NFTs are first issued. Sales are when somebody is paying for it, and transfers are when it's just like if I just send you an NFT without a corresponding transfer of crypto, or if I just transfer between my own wallet. That's why they've separated, right? So initial issue is a mint, secondary sales when they are exchanging value, right? So some crypto for some NFT, different tokens, or if it's just a transfer between wallets, right? So let us, so if you have the link open, you can go. Let me share my dashboard again. So once you're signed in to that website, you will see, my landing page obviously has more queries and stuff than you, but we'll just start simple. Assuming you're logged in, app.flipsidecrypto.com/velocity. I'm going to click on the top right and create a new query. Remember, we are looking at Ethereum. We're looking at NFT tables. So you have many different blockchains on the left. So we're going to find the Ethereum blockchain and then find our NFT tables. So if you look at Ethereum core, you'll see several tables. And here are our NFT tables, NFT mints, sales, and transfers. I'm only going to look at NFT sales right now, right? So if I click on that, you'll get a list of what we call attributes, and you can get a preview of the data if you click this magnifier symbol. Okay. 9:35. So I'll probably take, maybe 5-10 minutes more, right? So this is all NFT sales. This is not mints ever recorded on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So those of you who know some basic SQL, I don't know if I can make this a little bigger. That might be better. So I'm looking at easy NFT sales. So if you click on these double arrows next to any any table or any attribute, it just copies that over into your query window. But you never want to run a select stars, which basically gives all the attributes, because the table is too big. This will have several million rows because this is from, I think the earliest transaction is 2017. So I'm going to say, just give me 5 rows from this, which is probably not needed because you already see those 5 rows right here. What I'm going to do is look at sort of the earliest, I'm trying to figure out when did this start, which were some projects, what was the most or the earliest project? I don't know. Anybody know, before we even find it out, what was the earliest NFT minted on the Ethereum blockchain? I'm looking at the chat now. And don't Google it. If you know it, you should already say it. Earliest NFT project on the Ethereum blockchain. Any crypto enthusiasts here? Oh, okay. POW, I'm not sure I know that name. So let's figure it out, right? So that's where we are doing analytics, so we'll figure it out. Now where's my screen again? There it is. Right, so we'll say select star from this, and we will say give me by some timestamp, right? So we have some block order by default, this should be ascending, and I'm going to say give me only 5. Right, let's see, block timestamp. I got the names right. I might have to minimize it a little bit to see the results. And because this is a huge table, so queries, can take time. So there are some tips and tricks to optimize. And maybe if it is server is busy, that can take time. Okay. Yes, I might have the response from earlier somewhere already kept, but it looks like it has refreshed all of those. Yep. Oh, they've refreshed all the queries. Anyway, so while it waits, we had the first NFTs were minted sometime in 2017 for a project called CryptoPunks. And if we look at the CryptoPunks project, see June 2017. So once that query runs, we'll find the earliest sale date. You can see it's over 1 million ETH in secondary sales, about 10,000 were issued. This was sort of the earliest project, and still, actually, I'm not sure. This may not be because this does not show any analysis on. Sometimes you land up on fake projects as well. And there have been different versions of CryptoPunks as well. That does look like the official. And let's see if our data has come through, not coming through. Okay, so this, can happen with queries being stuck up on these open platforms because we are using them. Sometimes, our query doesn't run. So that's normal. And then we got to figure out a workaround for the analysis as well. So our students deal with real world issues around, optimizing queries or figuring out a way to shorten the amount of, reduce the amount of data that's coming out from the query. So looks like our query is not going to run today, unfortunately. I guess we will keep that running in the background. So let me go back to my slide deck and show you the analysis that I was hoping to conduct if Flipside would cooperate with me. So this would be some analysis we would do, in class, and then give people assignments. And I already showed you some outputs from the assignment, right? So thinking about what was the highest price NFT sale of that particular project, and total sales in the last 6 months. And I think for this project, total sales were in the couple of $1 million in the last 6 months, right? So as a follow-on to these learnings in class, we land up with many projects that are done sometimes in class, sometimes outside of class. We get, we as faculty, we apply for grants for research projects. So many of our students work outside of class on some projects. And since my current interest area is blockchain, so I've got many of my master's students working on projects funded by foundations, protocols, or firms, right? So, if you want to continue your learning in this space, Dune XYZ is another website like Flipside Crypto. They have a course. So if you go on their website, join their Discord, Metrics DAO is a DAO that helps you get started with metrics. So find their website, find the DAO. My course on blockchain analytics that I developed this summer is available open, right? All assignments, all questions are available, and I will figure out a way to give you the link if you're interested, though I don't think I can type directly in the chat, can I?
Yes, you can, yeah. If you just change the, yeah.
Does that, okay, there it is, everyone. I wasn't seeing that earlier. So for those of you who are actually, that might have a problem in the link. Yeah, so the last link should work. And you can take a look at, a full course. What I've just shown you is one module that we do as part of a database course. So I will stop there and then, open up for some Q&A, and then Ja will talk about our programs.
Great. Thank you, Professor Sachdev. This was very interesting and unique in its perspective for students to get an idea for as well. If any of you listening in have any questions for Professor Sachdev, please post them into the Q&A section. At the moment, there aren't any specific questions that have come up. I believe that's purely because of the clarity of thought that you've shared. But for anyone, any questions, keep posting them here. What we'll do in the meantime, in the interest of time, if that's okay, Professor Sachdev, I'll have Jia present briefly about the school and the programs on offer, and then we'll come back and take more questions as well. Jia, over to you. Tell us a little bit about GIES. Tell us, what kind of opportunities do students have when they consider studying at GIES Urbana-Champaign?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, everyone, for attending our masterclass. I hope everybody enjoyed Vishal's introduction to blockchain. I even learned a lot. I didn't have the opportunity to attend Vishal's class, but it's very, very interesting. This is kind of a representation of our cutting edge curriculum, actually, infused in all the classes, regarding data analytics. So in GIES College of Business, I'm going to go through a short presentation. I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about our school. So first, in Urbana-Champaign, we are kind of in the middle of the United States, 2 hours south from Chicago. We're located in a nice small city called Urbana-Champaign. It's a twin city. So here you can enjoy the campus life and also, the leading research and the teaching quality. So we were founded in 1987. We have over 150 years history, and we generated a lot of great researchers, great people, leading researchers, entrepreneurs that made a lot of impact to in the world. We're number 13 ranked public university in the United States. Very diverse campus. We have over 11,000 11,000 international students from 110 countries. So talking about our Gies College of Business, as Vishal said, our curriculum is very kind of a hands-on as well. All of the courses, all of the programs includes a action learning piece, in which students will do a real business project with our corporate partners to really enhance your hands-on skill. We want to make sure that whatever you learn from the classroom can be immediately applied to your future job. So over 95% of the students have really, high comment and feedback about our experiential learning course. And most of them think that it will help them increase their problem solving. It helps them present a better story. So this is definitely one of the highlights for all of our graduate programs. And these are kind of the client base that we have, ranging from large companies, small size, startup, medium, nonprofit. The projects are going to be kind of have a matching process based on your expertise, your interests, and the company needs. And we have a lot of other professional development resources available for all of the programs that we offer. Resume review, career fair, career showcase, and then prepare for you to kind of shine on the first day or first month in your future work as well. For all of specifically the programs that we offer are ranging from accounting, business analytics, finance, management, technology management. And we also have a financial engineering course that's a joint between business and engineering. We also offer a suite of online master's degrees as well. So all of the degrees are STEM designated. What does it mean? It means in all of the programs, so no matter if it's accounting or business analytics or even management, you have the opportunity to learn the data analytics, in your field. Oh, sorry. And none of our program needs you to have a business background to be able to apply, right? Some of the programs like MSBA need you to have, more passion on quantitative analysis or coding. Some of the programs needs you to have more advantages in business communication, right? Or finance knowledge, basic knowledge, but you don't have to have a business background to apply for any of our programs. And the STEM designated program will help you to secure 36 months of OPT time to work for any of the US employers, as long as they're E-verified employers, for up to 36 months with your student visa after graduation. That's very, very important, right? I'm sure most of you know about it, right? It's a long process to get a working visa in the United States. You need to have that extended time to ensure that you get that visa during the waiting period. And this is a kind of a glance of all of the programs, including the program length, start date, end date. Right now, we are entering the fall 2023 recruiting season. So the next deadline is, either January or early February for all of our programs. Specifically for MSBA program that Vishal is leading, it's a 9-month program. Start in August, and then you'll be able to graduate in May. And some of the programs, GRE and GMAT, are still optional. And then some of the program has an interview process built into your application process, and some of them don't. For MS in Business Analytics and MS in Technology Management, we have a 2-week, and also MS in Management, we have a 2-week orientation process. And for MSBA and MSTM, we do have a data bootcamp for you to help you refresh that data processing and data analytics knowledge using R and Python. Okay, and this is our TOEFL English proficiency requirement. If you did not get a full status TOEFL, you can still apply, as long as you meet the limited status, right? For the limited status, it's not a conditional offer. You still can register for first semester class. It just means you take 1 or 2 more English as a second language course in the first semester of your program. All right. So I know this is kind of a short introduction. So if you're interested in learning more about any of the programs, there are different ways to stay connected with us. For example, scan the QR code on the upper right corner to see a list of our future online events. For example, tomorrow, we're going to have a more in-depth MS in Business Analytics info session in the morning, our time, nighttime in India. And I think Vishal will be presenting that as well to talk about more student experience in the MSBA program. And then if you are ready to apply, you can scan the QR code in the second QR code to see if you are qualified for a fee waiver. And you can also stay connected with us through social media, through email. So, I would say our MSBA students are very, very active on social media. Vishal and the program director, the student service director, Amber, are very active on LinkedIn as well. So follow the QR code, follow the hashtag on social media to stay connected with us, to get the more up-to-date information about our program, recruiting, curriculum updates, placement, students shout out about their new jobs and stuff like that. And so if you are more interested in one-on-one discussion with our admission advisor and student ambassadors, we offer the Zoom channels as well. So, we offer different ways for you to chat with us, to learn about the campus life and also application process. So we're just here to help. Yeah. This is, as I said, this is just the start of our conversation, the start of your journey to join U of I in the future. And then let's stay tuned. We're open to more questions.
Great. Thank you, Shia, for that. I think that was super helpful. There's a couple of questions that have come across on our Facebook page as well, which I'll try and take now. For all of you who are listening to us here, please feel free to add any questions you may have to the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. Gia, the first question was for you, or rather there are two questions at this stage. First one is, when is the right time to apply to one of the programs?
It really depends on the program, but the quick answer is as soon as possible, right? Because some of our programs, for example, our MS Accounting, MS in Business Analytics, MS in Management, and MSTM, those 4 programs are the admission process is rolling based. So what does it mean? It means whenever you submit your application and the materials is completed, we start to process it. We're not going to wait until each deadline to process all the applications, right? We just do it very individually, have an individual reviewing approach. And for MS in Finance, the reviewing process is after each deadline. So you can wait a little bit. So for finance, it doesn't matter if you apply now or one day before the deadline, right? But hopefully it's not one day before, hopefully it's a week before. But for other programs, we're doing on rolling basis. So the earlier that you apply, it means we have more seats available. It means we have more scholarship funding available, to consider for your case.
Mm-hmm. I'll ask the other question as well, and then I'll go to Professor Sachdeva as well. There's a question about how does one stand out in the application process in a competitive program like the MSBA and others at Keys?
So we are a business school. We look at different dimensions, right? When we review our application, there are a few things that we look at. First, your academic skill, right? You want to make sure that you have a good GPA. If not, there are other ways that you can further showcase your academic skill, academic ability. For example, taking a GRE or GMAT, right? And another dimension that we look at specifically for some of the quantitative focused program, it's your analytical skill, right? So you want to make sure that you in your application materials, you have different touch point to talk about your analytical skill. For example, in the course in your academic experience, right? In GRE, GMAT, any project experience that can showcase your analytical skill. And third is leadership, leadership and teamwork, because we're business school. A lot of the homework and team project that you do are team-based. So make sure that in different materials, you mention your teamwork and leadership experience. Another one, oftentimes students overlook is your engagement, right? Because we want you to come in as an engaged student, you proactively look for resources. If you can showcase in your material about your current activities to engage with the community, to engage with the different school project, school kind of organizations, that will give us more confidence, right? To make sure that, hey, to make the prediction when you come here, you'll be an active student as well. And last but not least, the communication skill. So that's very important because you need a job, right? It's a business degree. You need to talk with people. You need to have buy-in from leaders. You need to have a good presentation skill. Make sure that, if there's any way for you to showcase your communication skills through a video essay, right, through interview, make sure you take that opportunity. And Vishal, specifically for MSBA, do you have anything to add?
I think you've covered all of that. I mean, we have, of course, as you mentioned, more quantitative skills. And, if the grades don't match up, then we look at something else. We look at work experience. We look at, your experience with some kind of coding language. So it's an evaluation of your entire packet. I think another thing, because it's a technical program, we still emphasize communication skills as well, right? In a business school, so it's not like a computer science program, but you are now going to be in many cases a role where you're interacting with the client, but also interacting with technical folks. Or if you choose, you could be that technical person as well, right? It's not necessary that you only go in client-facing roles. You could take on what we call, data engineering roles, which may not land up being client-facing. Yeah.
Michelle, one question for you here in terms of, the base knowledge around coding or the technical knowledge, how critical is that when looking at the business analytics program in particular here?
Well, so just to clarify, when we talk about code, in the business analytics program, you're not really using code as you would use in a software development context, right? So most of analytics with open source tools these days, will either use Python or R, though there are now what are called no-code tools, which are increasingly becoming popular, right? And we talk about those, we give workshops on that as part of the program as well. But for anybody serious about learning analytics, you need to pick one or the other to become good at, right? Python or R are the two basic ones. But again, you are not learning control flows and logic and all of that in a traditional software development program. You're learning how to essentially, if you think about it, getting a mental model of how any algorithm works, right? Basic setup. And then a lot of it is basically search. Right, you're learning by searching and looking at solved examples. So in class, yes, you're getting some practice, but that practice is never enough. You really get practice when you work on real projects. So we try and give you that with the practicum as well in the MSBA. So if you have no code background, we still want to see that you are good at quant skills, right? So we look for higher quantitative grades or a higher quant GRE score to say, okay, you can, when you're faced with a complex problem, or you have the persistence to work at it. And then the skills with Python or R, you learn on the way if you don't have it. Yeah, so that would be my answer.
Great. I also want to remind all the attendees today that by joining today, you've also become eligible for an application fee waiver. And we'll post the link. It is available for certain programs at Geese College of Business, and we'll post the link shortly here, and you will also get this as a reminder after the event. But feel free to start an application if if that is of interest and a program appeals to you in particular. Shia, one question that comes up very often, and I want to try and see if we can help students with that too. When it comes to references, who is the right person to write a reference as such?
Yeah, definitely. Our reference, the number of references are kind of different across programs, but at least one academic reference is, highly recommended. So your professor that taught in your class, that'll be great. And then for professional reference, the professor who provide the reference, ideally, it will be the professor that teaches the course that you're interested in getting into, right? For example, if you're applying for MSBA, getting a professor of English language, English course might not be the most, ideal situation, right? You want to get a more professor who teach quant courses. And then for professional reference, anybody who can speak about your capability, right? Your work ethic, that'll be fine, right? Either your direct supervisor, your supervisor in your previous company, or your client, your colleagues, if you are not able to reach your supervisor, right? It doesn't, I don't really think the title matters. You don't really need the chairman of the company or the VP of the company write about, write a reference letter. As, the more they know about your day-to-day work style, the better that they will write the recommendation letter. We do see that some students write, well, we can tell if you wrote the letter yourself and have other people just sign on it. So make sure that they, they are truly speak about their opinion about you.
Great, thank you. There are a couple of other questions that are coming in, and I'm going to try and address them. Samarth is asking if he is looking to make a transition from mechanical engineering to blockchain. What are his opportunities in that space?
It's a tough question to answer in terms of career change based on a technology. I don't think that's probably the right way to think about it. You have to think about what industry or what use case you're going for and what profile you're going for, right? So blockchain is a technology. It's not an industry. You have a particular skill set in mechanical engineering. When you say I'm going to blockchain, that's still not a skill set. You could do analytics on the blockchain and know nothing about the language that you use to write contracts or smart contracts, as they call it, right? So if you want to be a developer profile, you got to do some other preparation. If you want to be in the consulting space, you need to do some other preparation. If you want to be a business analyst, you might say, I'm going to focus on analytics and figure out how to get insights from what's happening on the blockchain. Or if you are in the finance profession, you might say, I'm going to build skills on how decentralized finance can enable getting funding or, all of that. So there are like 50 different ways you could go, but certainly not the way to think about said, I want to do blockchain. You got to figure out an industry, a skill set, and then prep and build, for that target profile.
Great response. One other thing that's come up and that's been asked is, what is the utility, and Dilip is asking this, what is the utility of blockchain on the future?
I think if you look at some of the resources that are linked in the course that I provided earlier, and we can provide the link there, you will find some sort of future-looking articles as to why are we even considering blockchain, right? So there's always this, if you just look at the cynical view of blockchain, you say all it's good for is crypto scams or and overpriced JPEGs. But if you start looking at one of the slides I'd shown in my presentation was talking about 800 companies are using blockchains, 12 different distributed ledger technologies. So read about those and form an opinion on how businesses are using blockchain. I referred to a company called CB Insights. They have a research study open to all, which talks about 60 different industries that can be disrupted by using blockchain. And they're not talking about NFTs and price of Bitcoin going up or down. So I would say start there.
Great. Well, that's super useful. We're going to take a minute here to do one last poll for all of you that are here to also get an idea of the kind of programs you're interested in. And then we'll go to Jia to talk about funding and financing for a quick minute after that as well. But before we do that, we're going to launch a poll right here on the screen that should be up in any minute. Here's a list of programs that you could choose from. Which master's program is of most interest to you? And it may be something that you may be interested in the MSBA as you've heard about it, or there might be other programs at GIES that are of use or are of interest to you. Tell us what you'd like to learn more about and what is your interest here. If you just take a minute, which master's program are you most interested in? Is it the Master's of Science in Accountancy, Master of Accounting Science, Master of Science in Business Analytics, Master of Science in Finance, Master of Science in Financial Engineering, Master of Science in Management, Master of Science in Technology Management, or the online programs that the GIES has to offer as well. Following this, we will also send you information across all the programs that the GIES offer. So this will help you make more informed choices. But with a quick minute, if you can choose the option that most resonates with you, we'll keep the poll open for another 10 seconds. If you can choose one of the answers, from which master's programs are you most interested in? All right, with that, we'll close the poll. And let's see what kind of responses we're getting. MSBA definitely has popularity, 43% if you're looking at that. The Master of Science in Finance, as well as the Financial Engineering program have seen decent interest. So good widespread response in general. So I think, Jia, what would be good is, as a follow-up, if you're able to send information to all the students about the programs on offer, that'll help them be in touch with you and ask you further questions as well. But with that, I want to take a quick minute to quickly check if there are any other questions coming through. Okay, but I'll come to you, Jia, in the meantime while I look at questions. Any advice on funding a master's program when someone's considering GIES as an option? Jia, you're on mute. You're still on mute.
Jia, we can see your screen, but we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was looking for the unmute button. Yeah, I have a whole presentation about it. So fund your education, always we want you to think about, right? This is an investment for the future, right? You might not be able to have a free education, right, for your master's degree, especially for business degree, but this is a good investment. So there are different ways to fund your education, fund your master's degree, right? Personal fund, of course, right? Through yourself, your saving, your parents, and then there are other fund channels that can come in to fund your help to pay for your cost of your master degree, including tuition and fees, and the cost of living costs as well. We offer program scholarships, right? All of the programs offers program scholarships for both domestic and international students. The scholarship, the scholarship amount is ranging from $5,000 to about $15,000. Given the total amount of the tuition fee, you can probably count less than 20% of the total tuition fee coming from the program scholarship. You have some other options to fund your education. For example, external scholarship that you can find from like Education USA, website, and some government-sponsored scholarship, company-sponsored scholarship. Those are external scholarship outside of Illinois. And a lot of students are getting student loan as well to kind of fill in the gaps for your the master's degree. And we do offer campus jobs as well. So some of the students, after you get the admission, you will receive a lot of emails introducing you to different resources. Some of the emails are reaching out to our students asking if you are interested in taking a campus job. Well, the difference between a campus job and scholarship or assistantship is the campus jobs are going to be hourly jobs that you just get a bi-weekly paycheck. So, we offer a lot of positions in our residential students to support the online student learning. So you could be a grader for our online programs. You could be helping answering Q&A board, helping with the office hours for our online program, or you can help with our professors presenting in the live session. You can even appear on the live session to be a co-host as well. So those are going to be and there are other campus jobs that are offered outside of Gies College of Business in the University of Illinois campus. So those jobs are going to be hourly jobs, and you can work up to 20 hours per week as an international student. Those jobs are generally paid about $15 per week. So if you work full 20 hours per week, then your projected income will be about $1,200 per month. That would be pretty much good enough to cover your meal and housing in Champaign. That's a good thing about Champaign-Urbana. It's the cost of living is very, very low compared to Chicago area, right? Compared to New York or San Francisco, right? With $1,200, you cannot even pay for your rent itself, in a bigger metropolitan area, right? And then you can work to fund your living costs and then find some other ways to pay for your tuition fee. And right after graduation, right? If you get if you do the work that we require you to do, if you're very engaged or proactively look for a job, then you're going to get a high paid job to pay off your student loan, right? To pay back to your parents very quickly, right? In a couple of years or 2 or 3 years. So, and then in the future, right? 30 years onward, it will be all the return of your investment of your education. So I think it's a great investment, to join a kind of business degree, is specifically STEM designated degree from University of Illinois. So we look forward to everyone to apply for our program and hopefully boost your future earnings through our attending our business program.
Great. Thank you, Jia, for that. Appreciate that. If there are any other questions, I'm sure Jia and the team will be more than happy to answer that. For any of you who are attending today, please feel free to stay in touch with Gies and the team at Gies for further queries. Professor Sachdev, any last comments or thoughts from you before we sign off for the day?
No, I think this was great. It's good to see so many people interested in analytics. So I look forward to seeing more applications come through. Yeah.
Fantastic. Jia, any advice from you for applicants looking to study at Gies?
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending. The earlier you think about your graduate education, right, the more prepared you'll be. You will be when you really ready to submit your application and pick the right program for you. Hopefully, Gies College of Business will be your pick, and then we hope to see a lot of you on campus in the future.
Great. There are still, a couple of questions that are coming in. I'm going to request the students to write to Gies, and they'll be more than happy to answer any further questions. But with regards to scholarships, it is normally a holistic, viewpoint to the profile, and the school will be more than happy to tell you more once you're able to get in touch with them. But with that, I want to thank both of you for taking time today and sharing good advice with us and talking to us more about the blockchain analytics domain as well. Great. For all the students, wish you the best in your journey to find the right school and the right program. We're here to support you for anything else that you may need in the future as well. with that, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the evening and day to both of you as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for us. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.